If you had 10,000, 100,000, or even $1 million in cash and you wanted to build an investment portfolio, what would you actually do with it? For many Aussies, that is the moment they freeze, letting inflation quietly chip away at the value of their money every single year. The problem isn't that Aussies are bad at investing, is that no one has ever given them a clear, simple structure to follow. And with more than 460 ETFs now listed on the ASX, not to mention thousands of individual shares and the property market, it's no surprise so many people feel overwhelmed before they even get started. So that is exactly what this video is, a practical 5-step framework for building a winning ETF portfolio from scratch. I'll show you why ETFs are the right vehicle in the first place, the one question that determines your entire portfolio structure, and how to use the core satellite method to capture returns your index fund will never see. Let's get into it. Part A, why ETFs? Before we build a portfolio, we need to look at your other options. Cash feels safe, but over time, inflation quietly destroys its buying power. At 3% inflation, $1 million in cash loses $456,000 in real purchasing power over 20 years. Even a high interest savings account paying 4 to 5% barely keeps pace with inflation after tax. At a 32.5% marginal tax rate, a 5% gross return becomes 3.37% net, roughly break even to inflation. You need higher returns if you want to beat inflation. So the real question is not whether to invest, but how. For most Australians, the default options are usually property or shares. Property has done well over the long term, but is also expensive, illiquid, and not diversified. You are often putting a large amount of money into one asset, one location, or taking on ongoing costs that are rising each year, like rates, insurance, maintenance, and strata. Not to mention Australian household debt to GDP is amongst the highest in the world. This does not mean property will crash, but it means the debt that fueled 40 years of outperformance is weakening. Shares are different. They give you ownership in real businesses. They are easier to buy and sell, and they offer strong long-term growth potential. But if you buy individual shares, your results can depend heavily on picking the right companies, which is much harder than most people think. That is where ETFs stand out. Instead of trying to choose a handful of winners, you can buy a basket of companies in one trade and instantly spread your money across hundreds or even thousands of businesses worldwide right here on the ASX. This matters even more in Australia because our market is a tiny and shrinking slice of the global pie. Australia now makes up just 1.6% of the world's stock market, down from 3.2% in 2005, while the US has grown to roughly 60% of the global markets, up from 42% 2 decades ago. Over the last 10 years, the S&P 500 in the US returned at 14.2% per annum, totaling roughly 276%. Compared to around 9.4% per annum, totaling roughly 147% for the S&P ASX 200. That's almost double, so investing overseas is absolutely essential if you want strong long-term returns. And if you only invest in Australia, you are missing the best technology companies, mostly US, the fastest growing consumer markets, like Asia, and the sectors that simply do not exist on the ASX at a meaningful scale. That is exactly why ETFs make so much sense. They are the simplest and lowest cost way to build a diversified portfolio of the best investments in Australia and the world. Now let's get into how to do this. Part B, the 5-step playbook. Step 1, do you need to draw an income? This is the most important question in portfolio design. If you do not need income from your portfolio, you're still working, your salary covers your expenses, and you're investing for your future, your full $1 million can go straight into growth assets. Skip ahead to step 2. But if you are retired, semi-retired, or relying on the portfolio for living expenses, you need to answer a harder question first. How much do you need each year, and is it sustainable? A simple way to frame it, on a $1 million portfolio drawing $50,000 a year with a 6% average return, the portfolio can last more than 40 years and still grow. At $75,000 a year, you need at least 8% average returns just to keep it alive. At $100,000 a year, that is extremely aggressive. Unless you are consistently earning 10% or more, you will run out of money. The usual rule of thumb is the 4% rule. Draw 4% of your portfolio per year adjusted for inflation. On $1 million, that's $40,000 a year. In practice, 4 to 5% drawdown rate on a growth-oriented portfolio is a reasonable starting point. Once you've set a sustainable drawdown rate, the next step is a cash buffer, which many people overlook. If you can afford it, hold 1.5 to 3 years of living expenses in a high-interest cash ETF like BetaShares AAA or Van Eck Cash Plus Active MONY. Markets do not move in straight lines. If you need $50,000 a year and the market falls 30%, you do not want to be forced to sell assets at crash prices. That is sequence of returns risk, one of the most damaging risks for income investors. A cash buffer lets lets you draw from the cash while markets recover, so you never have to sell at the wrong time. For most people, a 2 to 3 year cash buffer is ideal. On $50,000 a year, that is $100,000 to $150,000 in cash. Conservative, but it buys real peace of mind. Step 2, design your portfolio structure. Now we allocate the investable portion of your portfolio, and the approach I recommend is the core and satellite model. I've mentioned it in other videos, but here we'll go into it much deeper. The idea is simple. Your core portfolio is diversified, low cost, and largely set and forget. It tracks the global market and captures long-term equity growth without you needing to make investment decisions every week. Your satellite portfolio is more active, targeting specific themes and sectors your core ETF structurally misses. And that matters because you cannot just go all core and call it done. Core diversified ETFs track market cap weighted indices. That means they automatically overweight whatever has performed well recently. Right now, US mega cap tech, and underweight whatever has been out of favor: gold, commodities, energy, and emerging markets. That works brilliantly in long-term bull markets, but when cycles turn, the assets that were out of favor often rebound sharply, and your core ETF can miss it entirely because the index allocates based on past market cap, not future opportunity. A real example is gold returned about 32% in 2024, 35% in 2025, and the typical diversified ETF held exactly 0% gold. Goldman Sachs Research introduced the HALO framework in early 2026, heavy assets, low obsolescence, to describe the shift toward capital-intensive businesses in energy, infrastructure, resources, and national security. Their basket of HALO stocks has outperformed capital-light names by 35% since 2025. Your core ETF missed all of it. That is what the satellite portfolio is for. As a starting point, most investors can use 80% core and 20% satellite. If you're more conservative or newer to investing, 90-10. If you're experienced and comfortable monitoring your portfolio actively, you might go to 70-30. Step 3, choose your core ETF. For the core, I recommend diversified pre-built ETFs, single ticker funds that give you exposure to thousands of Australian and international stocks in one auto-rebalancing portfolio. I'll go deeper on which core ETFs I prefer and why in my newsletter, which I'll go into later. But here's the landscape. If you have a 10+ year time horizon and do not need income, or you already have a separate cash buffer, all growth options are worth considering. I strongly prefer ones with international shares for proper diversification. DHHF is the cheapest all-growth option on the ASX with a 0.19% management fee, 1.19 billion in assets, and a 10.69% per annum return since inception. VDHG is the largest diversified ETF on the ASX with 3.7 billion in assets, a 90-10 growth to defensive split, and an approximate 9.02% per annum return since inception. If you want more defensive cushion, maybe because you're close to retirement or just want lower volatility, VDGR has a 70-30 growth to defensive split, the same 0.27% fee, and a 7.26% return since inception. One important point on bonds. If you're already holding a cash buffer from step 1, you may not need a large allocation to bonds in your core. Bonds have underperformed in high inflation cycles, and for this reason, you need to be really cautious now. A cash buffer plus a growth-orientated core can often produce better risk-adjusted outcomes than relying heavily on bonds. The core is your foundation. Keep it simple, keep it cheap, and do not touch it when markets get noisy. Step 4, build your satellite portfolio. Now this is interesting. Take a look at this chart. These are all the themes that have outperformed a typical core ETF like Vanguard Diversified High Growth Index, VDHG, over the past 12 months, and most of them barely show up in your core portfolio. A typical diversified core ETF like VDHG has 0% gold, 0% infrastructure, 0% soft commodities, less than 1% China A shares, and only 2% commodities and energy, even though these sectors have driven outsized returns in the current cycle. That is where the satellite portfolio comes in. It lets you make strategic tilts to the themes and sectors your core structurally misses. My approach is up to 10 ETFs of 10% each to build your satellite allocation. That gives you meaningful exposure without spreading yourself too thin. The themes I'm watching right now are gold and precious metals. These act as a portfolio hedge and had zero index weight for years, despite returning 32% and 35% in back-to-back years. Commodities and resources, driven by the halo cycle and supply constraints. Energy, a sector that has seen chronic underinvestment for years. China and emerging markets, undervalued and going through a reform cycle. Infrastructure, benefiting from government spending, AI, data centers, and defense build-out. Healthcare, driven by aging demographics and innovation. Defense and cybersecurity, supported by the geopolitical environment we're in right now. Australian small caps, undervalued relative to large caps and positioned for a domestic recovery. The critical difference is this: the core should be reviewed quarterly, while the satellite must be actively managed, not day traded, but reviewed monthly. When a sector breaks its uptrend or enters a downtrend, you reduce or exit. When a new sector forms a base and starts breaking out, you consider adding it. That is what I call tactical portfolio management. And it's exactly what I cover every week in my newsletter. Which sectors are trending, which are breaking down, and where the next opportunity is forming. Included is a new market health meter, which tells you when it's safe to invest and when you need to be cautious. And this is based on our key market indicators. There's a free 4-week trial so you can see what it's all about. Click the link below. Step 5, monitor and rebalance. Your portfolio is built. Now the job is maintenance, and this is where most people either do too much or nothing at all. The core portfolio is set and forget. Keep buying if you're still accumulating, reinvest distributions, and do not touch it during market corrections. The evidence is clear. Time in the market beats timing the market. The satellite portfolio needs more attention. Review it monthly. Are the trends still intact? Has the thesis changed? Rotate out of broken trends and into emerging ones. For the total portfolio, check the allocation quarterly or at least once a year. The rebalancing process has 3 steps. First, the cash buffer. Does it still cover 1.5 to 3 years worth of expenses? If not, top it up from returns. Second, the core portfolio split. Has it drifted more than 5% from target? Trim the overweight and add to the underweight. Third, the satellites. Are any in confirmed downtrends? Rotate out. Are new themes emerging? Consider adding them. That's it. A monthly check-in, maybe an hour of your time. The rest of the year, leave it alone. Part C, putting it all together. Let me show you what this actually looks like in practice with 2 simple examples. Someone with $1 million who needs $50,000 a year in income. You'd hold $150,000 in a cash buffer, something like AAA or money, $680,000 in a core ETF like VDHG or DHHF, and $170,000 across up to 10 satellite ETFs, targeting the themes we talked about. That's 15% cash, 68% core, 17% satellite. Run the numbers on that portfolio over 20 years, with the core earning around 8% on average and the satellite earning around 10%. And after drawing $1 million in total income over those 20 years, the portfolio grows from $1 million to approximately $1.9 million. You drew all your income and still nearly doubled the portfolio. For someone who doesn't need income, are still accumulating because their salary covers expenses, it's even simpler. No cash buffer needed. $800,000 into a core ETF, $200,000 across satellites, 80-20, let it run. So let's summarize the logic. Number 1, you cannot leave $1 million in cash. Inflation erodes $456,000 or more in purchasing power over 20 years. Number 2, property is too concentrated. One asset, one suburb, liquid, rising costs. Number 3, listed shares keep life simple. Global access, instant liquidity, no operational burden. 4, Australia is just 1.6% of global markets. You need global exposure. 5, ETFs are the vehicle. 464 options on the ASX, instant diversification, and access to the world's leading investment themes. 6, if you need an income, work out a sustainable drawdown rate and hold a 1.5 to 3 year cash buffer. 7, build a core satellite portfolio. 80% core, set and forget, 20% satellite, actively managed for the themes your core misses. 8, choose a core ETF, DHHF, VDHG, VDGR, based on your time horizon and risk tolerance. 9, build a satellite portfolio of up to 10 ETFs targeting sectors like gold, energy, infrastructure, defense, and emerging markets. 10, rebalance your portfolio quarterly or annually. Top up cash, maintain your splits, and rotate broken satellites monthly. Now, if you want to go deeper on any of this, the specific ETFs I like, and the weekly sector analysis that's all inside the ETFadviser newsletter, there's a free 4-week trial, and for anyone who goes yearly, there's a 20% discount. The link is in the description. Go check it out.